touch the skies. Cheltenham town and Forest Green, Gloucester City stands so keen. Talk of the county, loud and clear.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of Talk of the County Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Hopkins. It's brought to you by Traffic Safety Management, local depot in Gloucester, but support projects all around the UK. TSM keep the roads moving safely day and night, offering local operatives a great career prospect and a socially driven company, but generally looks after the people and the communities they serve. To find out more, visit www.tsmltd.co.uk. There's only three of us this morning. Due to unforeseen circumstances. Sean's away with his son on a tournament, so good luck to them. And Martin, who was going to stand in for Forest Green Rovers, unfortunately has had a family issue early hours this morning, so best of luck to that, Martin. But we have got Cheltenham panellist Chris Howes. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
And we've got Dave / Angel Jones, beard stroker, you name it. He's here. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning. Morning.
So what we'll do is, because we've not got the Forest Green today, we're going to have a little 5-minute chat about them when we get to them. Won't be in depth, so we do apologise to Forest Green Rovers fans. But we'll go over to Chris for Around the Grounds. Over to you, Chris.
We are going to talk of the counties around the grounds by Chris Howes.
Yeah, send all your complaints to Sean. Let's go around the grounds, brought to you by BAM Recruitment. They find better matches than most managers in a January transfer window. Whether it's temporary or permanent, they put the right people in the right positions. Engineering, construction and operational, no VAR needed. Check them out below. First up, the ladies. Cheltenham Town, no game last weekend. They face Billericay in the last game of the season later today in what is a must-win game as they find themselves in the relegation zone. It is noteworthy that Billericay are bottom of the league and have not picked up any points this season and have a goal difference of minus 137. And a win for Cheltenham would guarantee their survival in the Women's National League. Gloucester were away at Saltash last Sunday, where 4 goals from Sashi Kaneko-Grun and Georgia Van Drace, along with an own goal, saw Gloucester run out 9-2 winners. Forest Green were at home to Frampton, where goals from Hattie Jones, Rhian Robbins, 2 from Estelle Randall, and a hat-trick from Isabella Williams saw them run out 7-0 winners. Hell of a lot of goals in those 2 games. Moving to the Southern League Division 1 South, Hartbury finished their season with a 0-0 draw at home to Bashley. Bishop's Cleeve missed out on the playoffs by just 1 point after beating Bidford 3-1 away from home. And the season has now ended for both of our teams in that league. Hellenic Premier League division saw Cirencester's playoff campaign come to an end, losing 1-0 away at Droitwich in the semi-final. In Division 1, Stonehouse are through to the playoff final after a 3-1 win over Bewdley. The final is on Friday, where they face Malmesbury Victoria at Aldens Lane. And that's it from around the grounds. Back over to you, Dan.
Brilliant. Thanks, Chris. So in terms of all our local sides, that's pretty much the end of the season for most of it now, isn't it?
Yeah, Gloucester and Forest Green women have a few games left, and it's just Stonehouse in the final that's left. A final of the playoffs and the final of the Gloucestershire Senior Cup. They face Roman Glass St George of the Premier Division. That is in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I did big commiserations to Forest Green. Commiserations to you for Wednesday, guys. Big commiserations to Bishop's Cleeve, who done their bit yesterday and won, but they missed out on the playoffs.
Didn't get the results going their way, did they?
But I don't know what's going to happen because Portishead had put a statement out that the Southern League have said that they may not be able to go up because they're ground and they're in the playoffs. So don't know whether it'd just give the team in the playoffs a bye or Bishop's Cleeve will get into the playoffs. So what's your thoughts, Dave? You might know a bit more about that.
I don't know, to be honest. Not a clue.
Personally, I think what might happen.
I would say the team that was one below the playoffs would step in, Phil.
I think they'll play it personally, and I think if they win the final, the team that loses the final will go up.
But then you think back to, was it not last season before? Gateshead were in the playoffs, and I think someone else got a bye, didn't they? Because I was in it. The team Gateshead were going to play. I'm not sure if they automatically went through to the semi-final, because obviously Gateshead's grounding. They couldn't give the EFL certainty that Gateshead
didn't have a long enough lease on it.
That's it. Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Bishop's Cleeve will have their fingers crossed. It could be a nice way day for you next season, Dave. But I do want to say, Chris, brilliant all season with your around the grounds. It's not just a case of just rocking up and reading stuff. You do your research and
Sometimes you have to write it whilst we're doing the pod, which is
he did have a slip up last week and come on and went, oh my god, I haven't done around the ground. So it was lucky Cheltenham were on last, so we had time to do that. But you've done a brilliant job, Chris. So well done.
Never know.
Appreciate it, lads.
Right, let's stay with you, Chris. And let's go to...
Rather not, if that's all right.
Let's go to Cheltenham Town. Sponsored by Emirates Racing. Find them on all your socials, online. And if you've got any questions, please get in contact with the podcast. And Chris Howes would happily answer any questions. Before we talk about the game... really good news in the week. Isaac Hutchinson was named in the EFL Team of the Year.
You can't score 20 goals from midfield and not be in the Team of the Year. Let's be honest.
Yeah, as most fans do. I've seen fans from around. Other clubs going, I can't believe so and so didn't get in here. So and so, but the reason the EFL Team of the Season is done by a panel who watch all the games and all the stats and all is because fans would have their own players all the time now, wouldn't they?
Yeah, of course.
But congratulations to him. Fully deserved. Nice to see the trophy he was given at the EFL Awards at Cheltenham Town, not Bristol Rovers. as some Bristol Rovers fans will tell you, that he should have been Bristol Rovers because he plays for Bristol Rovers.
Well, technically they are his parent club, but yeah, he's contributed an awful lot more to Cheltenham Town this season than Bristol Rovers.
Yeah, and I was talking to someone at the game yesterday, and they, they don't know who their source is, but they seem to think that Isaac Hutchinson has had a few offers already, or interest, if you like, which we'll get onto that a bit shortly. But he did also say that there's some rumours going around that Steve Evans will not sell the Cheltenham. That's why his comments of it's almost impossible is that he will not sell the Cheltenham Town. And basically, apparently has told Isaac Hutchinson that if he's to be sold, it's to a League One club, which I get because he doesn't want it to come and bite him back in the backside. But we were realistic anyway, Chris, when we knew he wasn't going to be here next season.
100%. Yeah, he's a League One player, and he's proved that this season.
Yeah, but before we go on to the Tranmere game, I'm just gonna give Pete's thoughts. Pete, again, thank you, Pete, for yourself. You've been in doing this all season for us, and we do actually get a lot of fans message and say they really enjoy Pete's contribution because he talks a lot of sense, man, like us on here. So he does balance it out. So thanks, Pete. But this is what Pete had to say yesterday.
So 2 games this week, 2 defeats. I didn't go to the Tranmere game, so I can't comment on that. But at Bristol Rovers, Cheltenham were beaten, the heaviest defeat in the Steve Cotterill second coming. Was it deserved? Probably Bristol Rovers just about deserved to win. But did Cheltenham deserve to lose 4-0? Absolutely not. It was a terrible first goal to concede. How often have we seen a near post flick header? We saw it at Harrogate, we saw it at Hope de Crew, we saw it again yesterday when apparently it was Jordan Thomas who lost his man Harrison with a free header. From then until half-time, Cheltenham were the better team. They played some good stuff, didn't create an awful lot of clear-cut chances, 2 half chances for James Wilson. But just before half-time, a shocker of a goal, really, a ball into the penalty area. Davison and Showing went for the same ball, went off the back of one of their heads, and Harrison nipped in to head over Day. Cheltenham started the second half okay, but the game was over when Harrison scored a terrific third. Sometimes you just have to give credit to the opposition rather than blaming your own side. This was a wonderful chip from fully 45 yards. Thereafter, the game rather ebbed and flowed, and Cheltenham were unable to create anything of any great substance. Bristol Rovers were happy to see the game out, but did score an undeserved fourth late on through Shaq Ford. Important that nobody overreacts. One bad game, probably the worst game of the Steve Cottrell's second era. Let's hope for a big finish next week at home to Colchester. And it will be great to see many of the former players back for what should be an emotional day to celebrate Neil Grayson.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. I agree to that, and like because he's analysed yesterday's game, Chris. We'll talk a bit more about that when we get to that game. But he did mention Tranmere. Cheltenham 1, Tranmere 3. There was 5 changes, Chris, before kick off, and I think Cottrell
I was going to say Barrow and Newport would have been fuming with that, but there we go.
Yeah, there was 5 changes, and I think that was more with Cottrell having one eye on Rovers away, because he wouldn't ever admit it.
That worked well then.
Yeah, he won't admit it, but we'll talk about it in a minute. He would have wanted to be firmly wanting to get one over on Steve Evans yesterday, wouldn't he? So I get that. Was you against any of those changes, Chris?
No, I think personally it's about time we had a look at some of them. Excuse me. Get some minutes into them. Let Steve have a proper look at some of the more fringe players. I'm talking your Josh Martins and the like. I wasn't against it at all.
Yeah. Again, we spoke about the Gillingham game, about how the game panned out and how it felt like a pre-season friendly, and it didn't on the Tranmere part. I would say that, but despite all the changes, Cheltenham played some brilliant football first half, didn't they, without really hurting Tranmere? Yeah,
no real chances created, really. But yeah, no, it was one of those. We did play really well, despite the changes, but it was just one of those days, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Tranmere had a really good chance, and again, this is where, like, Joe Day's a bit like Jacqueline Hyde. He pulled off an absolute fantastic save. It reminded me of, it wasn't exactly the same, but the way he saved it reminded me of Peter. Can you remember the save Peter Schmeichel made against Rapid Vienna all those years ago? It was like that, but he kind of like tipped it onto the post and it went out for a corner. So he makes that brilliant save. There's talks about him concentrating on his coaching role next season, and it's probably likely that Cheltenham will make him number 2, because I think he's a capable number 2, and then it gives a chance for Diallo to go out on loan. Do you think that's what needs to happen? Because we say Jacqueline Hyde, as much as he pulls off a brilliant save, and we'll get on to tomorrow's yesterday's game and shortly, there's always that mistake in him, isn't there?
Yep. I've been vocal enough about Joe Day, to be fair, previously. He's perfectly capable of playing in League 2, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not, because he definitely is, but I would rather him be on the coaching side rather than on the playing side.
Yeah. Yeah, no, agree. And then obviously Diallo gives him a chance, doesn't it, too? Because he needs to go and get game time, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. I can see Diallo popping up somewhere like somewhere in Gloucester's league.
Yeah.
How old is he?
He's only 17.
17 now.
Oh, wow.
He made his debut at Cardiff away in the League
big?
Cup.
Yeah. He's big enough for a keeper.
Yeah, he's quite strong, isn't he? He's like
from what I've taken on Diallo's performances when he has played in those couple of cup games was he's perfectly capable as a keeper. He's quite good with his feet, but it's a powerful shot he struggles with.
But he made his debut away at Cardiff City in the Carabao Cup, and he saved the penalty.
Yeah, he saved the pen in that game, yeah.
And had that shot where they took the shot on the edge of the 6-yard box and he flicked it around the post.
Yeah, that was a really good save, that one.
But I think what he needs, Dave, he needs a Kane Simpson ramming into him every Saturday with his elbows and his physicality, like, you know, which he's not going to get. You know,
quite sorry I approved of that, to be honest.
But he needs
anything deserves that.
He needs that sort of exposure to someone like say Kane Simpson, getting his elbows up in his, you know, on corners and all that, which he's not going to learn in youth football and sitting on the bench. You know, the experience of being on the bench in League Two, great, but he needs football. But Cheltenham did take the lead, Chris. Miller scored, great run through. One thing he's been guilty of, and we've talked about over the last few pods, is when he has time to think about it, he doesn't usually take the chances. But he runs through and he started at home brilliantly, didn't he? Yeah,
lovely little dink over the keeper. It was, in fairness, that's probably the only thing he could have done to score. And he managed to do it with aplomb, so fair play to him.
Yeah. He was on the bench yesterday, which again we'll talk about shortly. But did hear again another rumour yesterday that he's off in the summer. Again, this is not gospel. This is not in the know. This is not talking to anybody who would know. This is talking to somebody at the game yesterday who said they'd spoken to somebody else, and apparently that there was the same person who told me about what Steve Evans said, that he will not sell to Cheltenham Town, and said that George Miller. I don't know whether what he meant was that Cheltenham are not going to offer him a deal, which I'd seem highly unlikely considering, you know, Cots has shown that he does like him, and I think he would be a good number 2. But also, I think what he was trying to say is that Miller doesn't want to stay. So do you see that maybe he'd want to go back up north, Chris?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, personally, I'd offer him a deal, but I wouldn't be too disappointed if he decided to go. He's a decent player at this level. A decent League Two striker, but he's not going to get 20 goals a year.
No, he's like that. He's on Tuesday's game. That was 3 goals in 4 games for him.
Yeah.
And over the 2 seasons, he's scored 15 EFL goals at Cheltenham, and just don't forget, he missed almost 3 months of the season. With an hamstring.
And he was our top goal scorer last season.
Yeah, 11 goals. I'm on the fence. If someone said to me tomorrow and went, Cheltenham are going to get a number 1 striker, you know, like whether that's Mo Farah or I don't know. Say they was going to bring Mo Farah in and said, but we you know, because we're only playing 1 up front, we're going to bring keep George Miller as a backup striker. I'd be happy with that.
I wouldn't mind that. But I also wouldn't mind if we brought someone else in.
Yeah, that's a lot of the thinking of our fan base, I think, Chris. You know, talking to a few, some are not sold on him, but just think sometimes you'll be careful and thinking, if we're going to go and get rid of George Miller, we're going to find a 20-goal season striker, because everybody's looking for a 20-goal season striker.
Yeah, and 20-goal a season strikers aren't cheap.
Yeah.
And there won't be many that come up on the free agency list either.
Exactly. You know, you might get the odd one where you take a gamble on somebody and it works.
Look at Alfie May. We took a gamble on Alfie May. And it took a little while for him to get going, but when he got going, he really did get going.
We might be playing one against one on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Shaq
Shaq
Wengi, 41 goals this season for Paul.
Did he score another? Did he score an hat-trick yesterday?
He scored 2 yesterday, and then he was taken off with a bang to the head, apparently. So he may be out of the semi-final, which would be very handy for us because he's scoring for fun this season.
So if anybody from Cheltenham is listening to the pod, i.e. Russ Milton, I doubt Steve Cottrell listens to it because he would have he wouldn't be so kind to me at matches when he sees me if he listens to the pod. But if Russ or Keith, you listen to the pod, get down the pool and have a look at Shaq. 41 goals is nothing to be sniffed at, is it?
No, he's big, strong. I thought he was older, but 24 years old, good age. And I think I can see him leaving Paul and going higher at the end of this season for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So that was the first half, Chris. On to the second half, even with 5 changes, it was very, like I said, it was very easy for Cheltenham, wasn't it? We were zipping the ball around, and Cots made a comment. At times some of the football would, and some people might laugh. It was really good.
Yeah, no, the first half, I thought we were brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But we didn't create loads and loads and loads of chances. But some of the football that we played, it was brilliant.
The football was really good. And what did you think of Josh Martin? He obviously got a start, and a lot went through him first half, didn't
it? I've mentioned Josh Martin a few times previously. I really do think there's a player there, and I would be keeping him at Cheltenham Town next season, even if it's just as a backup. But I would be keeping him because there is a player in there. And in that first half, before he went off, he did the defensive side of the game quite well, I thought, as well. So I'd be keeping him at Cheltenham Town personally.
Yeah, do you think like what the sort of manager Steve Cottrell is? Would you'd be thinking like because you are right. There's a lot of quality there, isn't there? And obviously, I think the question is with Cots is will he do the other side of the game and trust him enough to do that? Could you see it being like a project, like going, I'm going to get that player out of you because. You're right. Every time I watch him, I think he's brilliant.
Personally, I don't think Cots needs to bring it out of him. The player's already there. It's just a case of trust, I think. I don't think Cots trusts him to do the defensive side of the game consistently. And that's what Martin needs, is consistent run of games. He hasn't had that at all for us, really. That's what he needs. The big thing that I think and this is a really silly thing, but I'm gonna say it. The big thing he's got going up against him, Josh Martin, is he is not 6 foot. Steve Cottrell likes big players.
He does, and I think he keeps alluding to that in his press conferences, the kind of players that he wants. But again, we'll talk about that in the next game. Tranmere. It wasn't the best start to the second half. Within 2 minutes, Tranmere level, and we talk about Joe Day. As much as the defending was poor, but he was so slow off his line, Chris. Wasn't he?
Yeah, that's one of the things that Joe Day has consistently not been at his best at, is coming off his line. He tends to change his mind quite a lot, and it's. Unfortunate is probably the best word to use.
Yeah, and it gave Tranmere something to fight for, didn't it? Look,
if we got a second in that first half, Tranmere aren't in the game.
Because they were poor, wasn't they? They were
awful.
Really poor.
Tranmere were awful in that first half. Whatever was said in that Tranmere dressing room needs to be known, because they were a completely different team.
They were. I still didn't think that they was brilliant, but what I think the equaliser very early on did, it gave them something to fight for.
Yeah.
But do you agree with this? Because Cheltenham made 5 changes, the mentality is no matter what people think of Cottrell as a manager, and he's got levels. The mentality in the players would be, well, our gaffer's made 5 changes, so he's kind of happy that to rotate players, and we're safe, blah blah blah. So we was at this cruising. We was cruising in first half. Not a lot of fight, bit of quality, but not a lot of fight. They equalise, go that little bit higher than what Cheltenham were in terms of like the intensity of the game. Cheltenham just didn't have it in them to go to that next level today. It was sort of like they was already in that mode of like going that extra yard like they have been previously, where Tranmere did because they had something to fight for. Do you agree with that?
No.
I didn't think you would. You never do.
No. You know what I can see what you're saying. And I can understand it, but I don't.
All right, then let me put it this way.
Personally, don't think you're right.
Tell me why you don't agree with that. Why do you think?
Because it's an opportunity for those 5 players that have come in. They're going to want to fight. They all of them are out of contract, so they need to play to get a contract. That's their desire. That's their fight, is getting a contract next season. If they want one at Cheltenham Town, of course. If they don't, then fair enough. But no, I personally disagree. I think Tranmere were a lot better, and we just didn't really come out of the dressing room for pretty much the whole half.
You say about fighting for new deals. If you look at Cheltenham's starting lineup, excuse me, Joe Day, I think we know he's going to end up being
he's got a deal already, so he's all right.
Yeah, so he's going to be number 2 anyway. Arcad Jude Boyd, yeah, maybe
fighting for a contract. I don't. I personally, I'd be surprised if he is playing next season for Cheltenham Town.
Yeah. Sam Sherrin's on loan, so and he'll have a lot of interest. James Wilson already got a contract,
already got a deal.
Jonathan Tompkinson, as far as I know, I think we've got an option.
Yeah.
Luke Young, I think will get a deal. Ryan Broom, I don't know. Cole Demon on loan, Isaac Hutchinson on loan, Josh Martin. I think the fact that apart from the last couple of games, because of Stevenson's injury, I think Josh Martin will be let go, as much as what you said. I think, he's been...
I do as well, actually. I do think Martin will be let go, but I would keep him personally.
George Miller, we've just spoke about George Miller. On the bench, Jordan Thomas, likely he's going to go. Bigger staff here next season. Harmon go in, Mofal loan, Diallo goalkeeper, Ashfield loan, and George Nurse I think will keep. So again, a lot of the players that we're talking about probably know their futures. What I was trying to say is that sometimes when you're in that mentality that the season's gone, you've achieved what you needed to achieve. The manager's made 5 changes. You probably go out there with that bit more relaxed. But because Tranmere have to fight for points for survival, they could probably find that extra bit of oomph to, early goal.
I agree with that, as in Tranmere have got more to play for than us. I would agree with that. But we shot ourselves in the foot by allowing them back into the game. That first goal allowed them back into the game, and I think personally, there was only one winner after they equalised, and that was Tranmere.
Yeah, and when it's gone to their second goal, a shot or a cross.
100% cross.
Yeah, you finally agree with somehow. I think then, Chris, because I said to the guy next to me,
if he's meant it, by the way, it's
a worldie
quality, but he hasn't meant it.
Yeah, well, they're saying about. They're saying Van Basten, wasn't he? People were saying that sort of goal. But I said to the guy next to me, because he was going, what a goal. I went, that was clearly a cross.
Yeah.
But it loops in. Again, questionable for Day, or do you think Day's just been caught out?
I think if it's a cross, I'm wondering why Day is where he is. Because, well, he shouldn't have been where he was for a cross. And look, I can't blame him for it going in, because it's just gone straight over his head. He couldn't have saved it, so it's one of them. But I question his positioning if it were a cross.
Yeah, agree. And then their third goal, Cheltenham were like pushing for an equaliser. They go at the other end, but the disappointing with this one is it comes from a throw in. comes to their player, he sort of just walks into the area with 3 Cheltenham players around him, gets across, and Amari Patrick's at the back and just taps into an empty net. Just all in all, it was just really disappointing, wasn't it?
It's a really poor goal to concede, to be honest. Yeah, I think we can move on from that now.
Yeah. So I watched Cottrell at the final whistle, and as much as I said about Cottrell to be, he was probably had one eye on yesterday's game, he was absolutely tamping.
Well, I mean, first half we played really well. So yeah, I mean, it's just that second half was not good enough. And the subs that came on did absolutely nothing. And I'm going to criticise Mo Fowl here because he didn't look like he was actually making much effort to me, which I was disappointed by. But yeah, it's one of them. At the end of the day, we were the better team, but we got beat.
Yeah, I didn't think Mo got into the game. I would say it's pretty unfair saying he did not much effort. We just struggled to get into the game, so I just think we was poor second half anyway. But let's go on to Cott's thoughts. I had a massive dig at the ref who...
It was shocking, by the way.
Shocking.
Nearly swore there.
Thanks, Chris.
Right,
it was pretty poor, and he was poor. There was one where Bickerstaff got into the area and his shirt was literally over his head. But I blame Bickerstaff there because Bickerstaff should just go down. But he tried to be honest, and I think his eyes are lighting up, thinking, "I'm going into the area, I'll get a shot away." But if he goes down, he probably gets a penalty, Chris. He probably doesn't get a penalty because of the way bad the referee was.
Yeah, the ref was poor, but we've said that many, many, many times this season. Standard of officiating in this league is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Let's go on to yesterday's game. So on Thursday, Steve Evans comes out and makes a comment about Isaac Hutchinson, which we've touched on. Do you think it was a bit disrespectful, Chris, the fact that he's coming out and he's basically saying, whether there's any truth in that he won't sell to Cheltenham in his comment, or he's being disrespectful by going, they can't afford him, so it's impossible. It's disrespectful either way, isn't it? He should just, keep Cheltenham out of it and talk about, we might want.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about other clubs. He's their player, so he's well within his rights to have a conversation about one of his own players, regardless of whether that player is currently playing for them or not. But you don't insinuate anything about other teams. It's kind of an unwritten rule in football that you do.
He's just classless, isn't he?
He is classless.
He's what I would refer to as a grade A beat.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I've got some notes written down about it, as we're talking about a bit further down. But on to the game. Bristol Rovers 4, Cheltenham 0. 1,150 odd Cheltenham fans made, I know it's in a short journey, but made the journey down. The atmosphere was great before kick-off. And then win 1-0, 1 minute, Cheltenham were 1-0 down.
Yeah, not a great start, as Dave alluded to. No, it wasn't Dave. It was Sean in the group. Sorry, Dave.
That's all right.
It's wasn't great, and it was a really poor goal to give away as well.
Yeah, the ball comes in, and Cots mentions about like Jordan Thomas. And Jordan Thomas, I've always said all season, Jordan Thomas is really good in the air. Now, what I find quite poor with it is the fact that there's 2 players around him. He gets that flick on, doesn't he? And I watched it back again. And again, like some people around me were blaming Day. I think it's a bit harsh, but Day does seem flat-footed, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, I've got to be honest. When I first saw it, I didn't think it was going in. I didn't know how it went in, but yeah. The other thing that I will note is something that there's a bit of a bugbear of mine is we didn't have anyone on the back post.
Yeah, exactly. That old fashioned of having people on the post seems to have gone away many times.
I would always have one on the front, one on the back. But there we go.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of people laughing about Steve Cottrell's comments. Now, I'll be balanced on this because I thought first half Cheltenham were the better side. We had all the ball.
Comfortably, by the way.
Yeah. We had all the ball. James Wilson had the first one was a glorious chance. He gets it on target.
It was just behind him. Yeah, the first one, it was just slightly behind. He overran his run ever so slightly, and it was behind him, and he couldn't keep it down. If he gets his run right, that's a goal.
Yeah. And then he had another chance, didn't he, where I think he heads it wide.
Just hit his knee.
It was his knee. It
went wide. That one, to be honest, I wouldn't even class that as a half chance because it just hit him.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't think that was as gilt-edged as the first one, but there was some method in the thinking of Steve Cottrell that we was the better side.
Oh, we were definitely the better team in that first half. Definitely.
100%. And then we do what we do. We shoot ourselves in the foot again. Horrendously defended, Chris.
Yep.
Two players going for the ball.
This season, we've been quite guilty of conceding really early goals and really late goals in halves. And it was a terrible first minute and a just as bad last
49th minute. Yeah. And I think it was Sherrin and Davison who went for the first ball.
Yeah.
So it flicks up, and then literally, Ellis Harrison. To be fair, it was one player I wanted Cheltenham to sign in the summer when he was a free agent. But Rovers fans have taken the mickey of us saying you must be bad if Ellis Harrison scored that trick. But he stayed alert and he flicked it on again. Again, some of the fans by me was going, again, Dave's flat-footed. But I've definitely seen this one back, and I think it goes past him quicker than what they've given credit for, to be fair.
I think he should have come and claimed it, personally.
That was my next question. Do you think he should have come and claimed it?
Yeah, he definitely should. Definitely.
Yeah.
And then there's no goal then.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. I didn't agree.
He'll either win it or he'll get fouled. Or he'll win a foul. So there's no goal.
Yeah, no, definitely. He definitely, I think, couldn't have got to the ball and by it past him. But that, like I said, my next question was going to be, should he come and get it? And I'm glad you agree, because I definitely think he should have come out and punched it out your defenders, because the ball was looped up, wasn't it, in the air? It was
It went really high, and literally, I said, "Why aren't you coming and getting it?" And he didn't. So
did he answer?
There we go. No, he called me an idiot. I've got to be honest.
Everybody's just gone like that in the crowd. There's been a lot of talk from a few fans saying about Cundy. I think Cundy gets caught on the turn, granted, but what has been evident over the last two games about Cundy being in this side because of his injury is that probably 3 of those goals don't happen with Cundy in the side.
Well, I mean, it is hypothetical, of course, but yeah, no, I'm inclined to agree with you. He's really good with his feet as well. I mean, the problem with Cundy is he's injury prone, very injury prone. But he's a good player when he's on the pitch. Yeah,
definitely. And so, like I said, we shot ourselves in the foot. We just needed to get in at 1-0, like I said, on top in terms of play. And shooting towards our own fans in the second half, you never know. But like I said, we give that goal away. At half time, I wasn't the only one, but I was calling for Mo Fowl to come on. I just feel that we needed somebody, as much as I like Davison, just needed someone with that little bit of quality up top.
He didn't get into the game, Davison, unfortunately. I don't think. Not to the degree that he has in other recent games. So yeah, I agree. I thought Fowl would come on at half time, personally.
Yeah,
but he didn't.
No, he didn't. And then literally 11 minutes into the second half, the game was, if it wasn't killed off already, it was killed off. At first viewing, I thought Broom was trying to win a free kick, but the second watching it back, I just think he was just out-muscled.
He was too slow.
Yeah.
He was too slow, and he got his pocket picked, and
What a finish, Chris.
yeah, quality finish. 40 odd yards. Yeah, people will have a go at Dave for his position in there, but I'm not going to have a go at him for his position in there. How can you account for that? It's a great finish. Fair play to him.
No, agree. It happened so quick, and I played in goals myself, and I've got no problem with Joe Day's positioning, because, like you said, by the time it was probably about 3 seconds by the time Broom lost the ball, and he didn't even look up, did he? He just hit it straight away.
Didn't. He just hit it, and it flied in. It was you got to give credit for a good finish, and that was a really good finish.
Yeah, brilliant. And then Rovers finished the game off with a fourth, minutes after Evans going in with the fans. What a circus!
Pantomime is what the word that sprang to my mind. It was a bit of a pantomime, but if that's what Steve Evans wants to do, let him crack on. By the way, what I will say is he should have received a second yellow card for leaving his technical area, but that's me being an absolutely bitter idiot. I'm not wrong. I know I'm not wrong, but I look, if my manager did that, I would be disappointed if a yellow was given for it. But given that it was pre-planned as well, it's one of them. But pantomime, and it was. I think what made it even worse was he just got in the stand when they scored.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, with me and Charlie, we went down yesterday. We took my mum and my old man down with us. We stayed in Bristol for a bit after. And our old man's a massive Leeds fan. He's off to Wembley today. See a bit of better standard of football. But even he said, he was going, it's exactly what you just said there. He goes, I can't understand how he's not been booked, because if he starts the game in the technical area, that's fine.
Where he's supposed to finish it.
Well, sometimes they will come down at half time into the technical area. Yeah. But the fact that 5 minutes to go, he's gone into the crowd and walked around. I
thought, players aren't allowed to go into the crowd.
No,
so
exactly.
Why are managers?
I would like, if there's anybody who's listening to this, and we do get some feedback from people. Yeah. There was somebody who messaged when we were talking about the referees. Not sure if it was Lee Pitts. So Lee, if you are listening, please let us know whether a manager can go into the crowd, because I thought
players if you leave definitely area, can't.
The thing is, he said before the game, didn't he, of his intention to do it. So surely somebody would have told him when he said he was going to do it.
You'd like to think so.
That. If you do that, you'll get sent off.
When it got to 10 minutes and the Rovers fans were singing, come and join us, and he was like laughing, but then it was like 5 minutes to go. He went, I seen him go to the fourth official and went like that. And the fourth official must have said, because he went into the stand behind him and made his way around to the Thatcher's end. But again, like
he didn't. In fairness, he didn't walk around the outside of the pitch. He walked through the stand area the whole way. But
But we say, like we said there about the both of them. They're idiots. They're probably the most two disliked managers in English football. An assistant manager. Rayner spent probably 5 minutes in that first half moaning at the fourth official to get Steve Cottrell booked. Now, I know players do this, but when management are stood on the sideline telling the fourth official to get Steve Cottrell booked, he was flinging his arms up at the fourth official because to be fair, Cheltenham's first goal, Ashfield was fouled about 30 seconds before, and Steve Cottrell was telling them about that. And Rayner kept going up to the fourth official and was like pointing at Steve, going, are you going to let him get away with it? Then he gets booked, and Rayner just turns around and walks back to the technical area like, I've done my bit. It's professional football, Chris. It's got no place, does it? If it tells you a lot about a team, sometimes about the players, but if your management's like that, it tells you what the team's going to be like, doesn't it?
Look, Steve Evans, he's very not chalk and cheese. He's a very Marmite character. You either like him and you really like him, or you hate his guts. And I'd say 80% of people hate his guts, but there you go.
fickle football fans, Rovers fans, because I've definitely bookmarked a few of their comments about him, how they love him, because probably this time next season they're going to want him out because Steve, the saying goes, Steve Evans is good when things are going good. Steve
Oh,
Evans
yeah.
is not very good when it's not going good. So watch his space, especially when he comes back to Wallen Road next season. And to sum it all up, the final whistle goes. Steve Cottrell walks straight to the away fans. Doesn't even shake anybody's hand on the
Doesn't
bench.
surprise me at all.
I know there's no love lost between them,
No.
Chris, but some managers would have just gone and shook their hand because they're put up with it. But Steve Cottrell won't, will he? And usually I would be the first to turn around and say, no matter what, Steve, you shake their hand. But I was actually like, yeah, get over to the away fans. Do not, show them any sort of respect because they disrespected Cheltenham all game by one, the manager going into the crowd, and two, the way Rayner was playing up to the officials to get another manager booked.
Yeah, look, you don't want to see, and it's the same with players. You don't want to see players trying to get other players booked. In fact, you get booked for it yourself now these days in higher up. But it's look, they're a double act, and they play up to it, and I think they like it. But there you go.
No, 100%. They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing, and they tend to get the reaction they're looking for. But all in all, Chris, it was disappointing. Over 1,100 fans there, and that old saying goes,
yeah, you don't want to lose 4-0 when you take in your biggest crowd of the season away from home. I think it's the biggest crowd we've taken away from home anyway this season.
It is, this season.
You don't want to go losing 4-0, regardless of how well you played first half, because we were the better team first half. Second half, the game just petered out. It was one of them. You don't want to be doing it when you take that many people, but it is what it is. Thankfully, we will be in this division next season, and we can get them back next year.
Yeah, as the old saying goes with Cheltenham is, I know we did turn up against Warsaw, to be fair, but we very rarely turn up, do we, when we take a good away following it?
No, yeah.
So on to Cott's thoughts. It was a very short interview, and I think Mark Halliwell said that whilst they was recording it, obviously there was Bristol Rovers fans still in the ground, and they was obviously chucking abuse at Steve, so it was quite loud. So it's usually about 10, 12 minutes long. This one was 4.5 minutes. He did say, as we said, the better side. He said, and a little bit in the second. I don't agree in the second half. I do not agree that we were the better side.
No, I don't think we were the better team in the second half.
And then the interesting comment, which I do agree with, he said the players are dead on their feet. He said, I've squeezed them like an orange because there's nothing left to get out of them. He's, do you agree with that?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. The players have been absolutely magnificent since Steve came in, and look, they've kept us in this league because there was only one way we were going, and that was not being in this league next season. We will be, and we thank all of those players for their efforts, and hopefully we can celebrate next week.
Yeah, and that's you're right there, Chris. Is like, as much as like we went out around Bristol yesterday for some food after.
Sorry,
and to me the Arbour's all right. I was obviously pick six. I hate losing anyway, and to lose 4-0 on the hype had been put on the game because of the banter between the fans. Yeah, I wasn't very happy, but gradually as you kind of get over it, you're right. The main part this season was to stay up, and we've done it. We've done it at Cantor, haven't we? I think it's.
Yeah. It's been. Don't get me wrong. There have been moments this season where I thought, are we actually going to do it? Are we actually going to stay up? But in the end, we did it really early. We did it with loads of games left. It is mission accomplished, and now we build for what will hopefully be a more comfortable year next year.
Yeah, brilliant. That's Cheltenham Town, Chris, and we've got one more next week. But as always, thanks for your input across the season.
That's right.
It's been some good banter. Let's stay with you two for now, and we'll do a quick 5 minutes chat on Forest Green, because obviously, unfortunately, as I said at the beginning, Martin's had a family emergency. He was really looking forward to coming on. He apologised, but he did message me about 3:30 or 4 o'clock this morning. And Sean's off on his jollies doing a football tournament. So so we'll talk about the playoffs.
How dare Sean put his kids before the pod? That's
yeah,
ridiculous.
Exactly. We're making no money, guys. So
Dead to me.
So let's have a talk about Forest Green. But before we do, gents, obviously Sean's not here because he's, like I just said, he's away for the weekend. But he did send in a voice note, so this is what Sean had to say.
Hello, gentlemen. 5-0 win, clean sheet. Been telling you boys all season that we was only 90 minutes away from smashing someone 5-0, and it's finally come in. Seemed like a great game today. From the signs of it, there was a lot of positives. Ricardo Reese bagging a couple of goals. Sean Etalupu played well. McAllister obviously doing what he's done most of the season, just looking like a completely different level. So obviously we move on now to the playoffs against Boreham Wood. Going to be a tough game. Looks like they rested a few players today. So, they're going to be fresh and ready for it on Wednesday. But yeah, hopefully we can take some confidence from today's game and take that into the playoff match. And then should we get through Wednesday night, then we move on to Carlisle away. Again, don't seem to get any easier. So, but if we want to get to the Football League again, this is what we're going to have to do. So onwards and upwards. Great to be Forest Green. Brilliant result for Cheltenham as well. Lovely to see. And I'll speak to you boys when I'm back. Take care. Have a good one.
You are right, Sean. You have been going on all season. You was only 90 minutes away from smashing someone 5-0. And it's only taken you 4,140 minutes to do that. So, but thanks for that, mate. Really appreciate that.
I'd love to.
So, Chris, Dave, to be fair, I'm absolutely gutted. I thought I said 5-0, and I had to go back and listen through the pod. And I said 5-1, and they won 5-0 yesterday.
Should have known that Forest Green always keep clean sheet.
So they've kept the clean sheet, Chris, and they finally took into the last game. Sean's been saying, we're going to put 5 past them. We're going to put 5 past them when they've done it on the last game.
I love the fact that Sean's not here for it.
He's missed it.
The game he does it, he's not here to brag about it. But all joking aside, it's probably they couldn't have prepared for the playoffs in a better way, could they, with a 5-0 win?
No, it's the way you want to go into the playoffs. They won't go up though.
Is that knowing, Chris, or is that?
They just won't. They just won't.
It's a big ask, isn't it, to get to 3 away games? I know it can be done, but
I don't see them beating Rochdale.
No, I don't.
I don't see anyone beating Rochdale.
I got it wrong. I did have a message off Robbie last week. To me, this is an even harder route. If they beat Boreham Wood, they actually go away to Carlisle at 12:30 on the Sunday. So their fans are gonna have to leave like 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning.
Saturday,
yeah, to get up there. But you're right. We've spoken about, haven't we? Spoken with Sean about the route Forest Green, and I was surprised at Southend yesterday because they beat Wealdstone 2-1, and I thought that Southend would have rested the entire 11, and this is the reason why, is because they would have ended up playing Boreham Wood, which is theoretically a local derby. They wouldn't have to travel. They'd get the extra day rest. because they'd play on the Wednesday, and then obviously they would go to Rochdale, or they would go to Rochdale in the semi-final. But they won. They stayed second. So it's Forest Green who get the extra day rest. They go to Bournemouth, which we've discussed that their form against Bournemouth this season has been the best out of the other sides in the top. But say if they, I feel Forest Green have beat Bournemouth. I really do. Even though Bournemouth would have had a great season, finishing fourth. But do you think you guys say there about it being a big ask? Do you think it will be a big ask going to Carlisle? Because if you look at their results against Carlisle, they lost 4-2 and 3-1.
They don't beat Carlisle. If they beat Bournemouth, they don't beat Carlisle, and they certainly don't beat Rochdale.
See, I'm in a different mindset to Rochdale. I think Rochdale will struggle to pick their jaws up off the floor for the playoffs. And there was a stat I read that only 6 times out of the last 20 seasons have the team finishing second gone up in the playoffs.
I'm not saying Rochdale go up. I'm saying Forest Green don't beat Rochdale.
so
Rochdale are going to go up.
So yeah, they have to play him in the final. I agree, Chris. I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just a staggering stat, isn't it? That
it is, yeah. But Forest Green don't beat Carlisle either, by the way. So it's kind of irrelevant.
I fancy Carlisle for the playoffs.
Carlisle or Rochdale are my pick.
Yeah. And just a quick one. Obviously for them, Ricardo Reis. He came in. He started really well. He scored, I think it was 4 in 12 games. And now he scored 6 in 13. So it's almost a goal every other game. Do you think for Forest Green, because Dave, because you've always raved about him, haven't you? About Ricardo Reis. Do you think he could be that difference in the playoffs for him?
He could be. I mean, it's a big thing getting him back. I was under the impression he was out for the season when he first got injured. So yeah, it's a big thing. I think it's not many players you'd want chances to fall to, but you've got to make those chances, haven't you? And I think I think he'll probably score in the playoffs, but I don't think they'll have enough to get through 3 away games at potentially Bournemouth, Carlisle and Rochdale. I think that's a big ask. If they do it, they'll have certainly deserved it and gone up the hard way, won't they? But I wouldn't be putting my money on them.
Yeah, I genuinely think that if as you just said there, if they do go up, you just got to hold your hands up and say, do you know what? There's no harder way of going and playing 3 games away from home, and the team they've got to play is really hard. Do you think it's fair to say with Rovers, though, because we know we've watched a lot of games of them, and to take out the blip they had mid-season, when they are on it, they do play good football, and they've got match winners like Carl McAllister, Knowles, Horton, Ricardo Reis, Manny Meller is not a bad player. So they have got players who could probably score in moments. But my only concern for Rovers is over the course of the season, I just think I go back to that Carlisle game up at Carlisle, and I said this to Robbie on the pod. As good as Rovers are going forward on the transition, on the turnover, I don't think that they're strong enough at the back to keep out these better sides, and I think that's why they've struggled against the top 9. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been saying it all season.
No, you have. Yeah, you have, to be fair. Yeah, Chris, you have. But yeah, I do have a predict. I do think that they'll beat Bournemouth. But I think that might be where it ends. But anyway, like I said, it was going to be a short talk about Forest Green because we've got nobody to cover. So we do apologise for any Forest Green fans who are listening. But if you're in the semi-final on Sunday, I'm sure we'll get Sean's thoughts for that one. So let's go over to Gloucester City. Dave, before we talk about the playoffs and yesterday's game, how's ticket sales looking for?
Yeah,
for
good.
Gloucester?
Good. About over half gone already. So yeah, it's going to be a bumper crowd.
Yeah. I think like, did you say like within a couple of hours of it going on sale, general sale, like, there was like almost like a quarter of the tickets had gone, hadn't they?
Yeah, they went. Yeah, people worry, don't they, that they're going to sell out and they're going to miss out. So no doubt there was loads of people all hovering with their finger on the button at 1 minute past 8 when they went on sale, and so there was a huge spike at the start. But I think people realise now that that they will get a ticket as long as they buy before the day. So it's pretty steady. I've developed a new hobby of just sat watching fan base, watching the ticket sales go. It's really quite sad. A couple of us have got the fan base app so we can see it. So we're on WhatsApp groups, just kind of like goes up to sort of like ticks up by 2 tickets. So I send that on WhatsApp to keeping other people updated how many we've sold. So, but yeah, it's going to be a big crowd on Wednesday, and hopefully a great night.
You did say there, Dave, just to reiterate that did you say that there's no tickets available on the night?
I don't think there's a cut-off time-wise, but they've got to be bought online. So if there's tickets left at 7:30, presumably you can go on your phone and buy one as you're walking up to the ground, but you can't turn up to the turnstile with a card or cash and pay to get in. So
Right, okay. Yeah, so that's important for City fans to know. On to yesterday's game. We'll just quickly brief over it, because you don't like dead rubbers, Dave, do you?
no, it wasn't a dead rubber in the grounds that
it wasn't. No,
we had the outside chance of snatching second if Farnham had slipped up. So the most annoying thing would have been Farnham slipping up and us not doing what we had to do. So we just had to concentrate on winning the game, and can't affect what happens elsewhere. As it happened, Farnham won 3-0 quite comfortably. So whatever our result was, it wouldn't have affected anything. But we played really well and deservedly won. Should have been more comfortable, really.
Yeah, Warren and Ersham, they won the league a few weeks ago now, haven't they? And I'm right in saying that they haven't won since they won the league, have they?
I think they've won 1. I think they've lost 5 out of the last 6 or something like that.
Because they drew, didn't they, at Evesham?
Yeah, yeah. They're still on the beach, aren't they? They've won won a canter, and fair play to them. They've deserved champions. So, but it must be a bit of a weird mindset to be into, having 5-6 games left when you've already won the league.
Yeah, well, we did.
To sort of get 2 up for games, mustn't it? Their fans certainly weren't very up for yesterday. I think they brought probably 20, 25 people to the last game of the season as champions, which is, I find, a bit bizarre. I think if it had been reversed, we'd have taken a few hundred people celebrating and probably fancy dress and getting on it and having a big party. But it was very, very subdued by their fans. But maybe they're all on the beach already. It's done and dusted, isn't it? So, yeah, it was a lovely day and nice way to finish the season.
Yeah, it was, and like the one thing what you mentioned there about like 25 fans going away from home, and again, like I try not to get too into it, because I believe everybody deserves their chance of getting at the pyramid and what have you. But you've got clubs like Gloucester, you've got clubs like Poole in the playoffs who are well known for the level above. 25 away from home when you won the league, it just stinks of
how many will they take in the National League or South if they're sort of mid. I mean, they might storm it and win that, but if they have an average season, not winning every game on they're literally going to not take anybody, aren't they, to some away games on a Tuesday night? It's just they haven't got that support there. But
well, that's it.
I see how many points does it, and they've got a good team. So
I did see your comment on X, and I actually agreed with it. Like, when you said hopefully for once, yeah, you said hopefully for the locals will start getting behind the team. But you've said before, Dave, that they're a club that play on the back of a community centre. It's not really like a proper ground.
It's a leisure centre with a 3G pitch around it, with a fence around it. It's just one big building. It's got a bar at the top and toilets underneath and food, but it's all one thing. I just can't work out when they're playing some of the bigger clubs you bring and they've got to segregate how they're going to do it. But presumably they've got until next March to work that out. But it's it's a council ground, so hopefully their council are willing to do the work, or allow them to do the work. I don't know who paid for it. It seems to be sort of a few bob, but there's a lot to be done to get it up to step 2 standard.
With it, this is the thing. Like, I know they're going to go into the southern section, but if you look at like Morecambe, who are coming down from the National League into the northern section, the stadium that they're going to have, the facility.
I know, it's mad, isn't it?
I've not looked into it too much, but what is the grain? Because usually you've got to have a minimum of 200 seats. Have they got that?
More than that.
Has it gone up now? Is it?
Yeah, I think it's 500. I think you've got to have 500 in not more than two separate areas, so you can't have like tiny little stands dotted around.
Yeah.
So they one thing they're probably not lacking on is seats, because they've got like a big stand with a bar at the top, and it's all just one big building like a leisure centre.
Right.
They've probably got enough seats in that, but it's just the fact that they haven't got anything else apart from that is really gonna cause the issues with regard to turnstiles and toilets and catering and stuff. It's a bit of an odd setup, but I'm sure they'll work around it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, on to the game. You mentioned before kick-off that Jamal Mohammed's now going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah. So disappointing. I was gutted when I arrived and somebody told me that, he was training with West Bromwich Albion this week and rolled his ankle in training, and that's his season over. So he's been massive for us. I think he'll be a big miss, but we played a different system yesterday. Michael O'Regan don't think it's any secret. There's a fair chance he's going to win Player of the Season, and he deserves it. He was excellent again yesterday. Kim Thomas didn't start.
I say he started on the bench, didn't he? And I was going to say, was that probably a thinking of the playoffs as well from Dan?
Possibly. Yeah, I mean, he's always got a card in him as Kieran. So, but yeah, we played really well. Couldn't quite work out the lineup really. It was almost like we played 3 at the back. Michael O'Regan is a sort of single centre back with Ledbetter and Morgan either side of him, but they weren't like 3 centre backs. They almost played like full backs. So it was a very attacking lineup, and King Baidu started on the right wing because now we've got no Ellis Watts, and it changes how we play because Ellis Watts is a great player, but he's predominantly left-footed and tends to go down the right wing, takes people on, and then tends to cut in. Whereas King Baidu was played on the right, and he's right-footed, and he's got pace to burn. And on numerous occasions he skinned their fullback, got to the byline, and put really dangerous balls across. None of them quite fair. You can criticise, can you? But there is an element of luck when you just pull it back or cross it, whether somebody's on the end of it or it goes to a defender. And yesterday was one of those days where mostly it went to the defender, and on the occasions it went to our player, once for Hanksy and once for Kane Simpson, and they just didn't manage to put it in the back of the net. But he was man of the match, King was yesterday. And I think that's excellent because he's going to be a big player for us in the playoffs, I think.
Yeah, we discussed this a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? Like, he's one player that I've been very impressed with Gloucester City, and but he seemed to have found himself out the side over the last couple of months, really.
Yeah, he's been in and out. Yeah,
but he's one of those players who, we discuss it a lot of Football League level, like, players who maybe don't get in the game a lot, but he can be a different maker, can he? He can make.
He can definitely. But defenders just don't like playing against that sort of pace, do they? And doesn't matter who you're playing against. If he gets that ball played in behind, it's very few fullbacks are gonna be able to stop him. It's just all a question of the final ball, isn't it? But hopefully it falls right for us in the next week, and Kane, Simpson, and Hanks here getting on the end of a few of them, and leads to a few goals.
Yeah. And you say Kieran Phillips, I think that's his 4th goal since coming back from his loan spell. He's
Yeah.
Good goal, Dave, or?
Yeah, I mean, typical striker's goal, really. It's just what he does. Right place, right time. Put it in. He worked well with Kane yesterday. We looked very attacking when we get the ball in the final third. We looked a threat and looked quite comfortable at the back. Really, it was just a really, really good performance. That should have had more goals, but I'm more than happy for us to be a bit wasteful in front of goal yesterday if it means that that we stick him in on Wednesday and hopefully bank holiday Monday.
Yeah, and obviously that was the only goal of the game, and that's one thing I did pick up was Phillips was having a really good game yesterday. Obviously we're going to the playoffs now, but over 1,400 there yesterday, which is obviously pleasing. I would say the club going into the playoffs on Wednesday are going to want to be not say doubling that, but you will want to see over the 2,000 mark, won't you?
I think we'll probably double that, to be honest. I think it'll be upper 2,000s, I would say. Hope so. I mean, there's not a lot of money left after you've split it with the away club and the FA take the league take their slice as well. So it's not really the money spinner it would be if it's all the money went to the home club. But it's all about getting the support, getting a really good atmosphere, and trying to see us over the line. And then if we can get past Paul, all eyes will be on the other game, Farnham Berkhamsted, because I, for one, desperately, if we do go through, desperately want Berkhamsted to win, so I don't have to try and arrange about 5 or 6 coaches in 5 days.
But that's the thing, Dave. People don't see the work you do behind the scenes, and that's a lot of stress, isn't it, in a short period of time?
Yeah. That's, I mean, I arrange all the fan transport, and to be honest, it's quite easy. It doesn't involve a lot of work, with the exception of games like that when you've got a few days' notice. And the company we use, Bayliss, have looked after us this season, but they're a small company. They've only got one coach, and we've got that preliminary booked for bank holiday Monday. But then it'll just be a question of ringing Bennett's, Marchants, everybody I can think of, Apple Gates, whatever they're called. Yeah, I'll just be on the phone just trying to round up coaches, and then trying to field the inquiries where people will be receiving WhatsApp messages and Facebook messages from the club, and on my personal, and text messages and emails and X messages. And the biggest problem is trying to collate it all, because it comes in from so many different angles. But we'll manage. We'll get there, and hopefully I have to do it.
Yeah. So talking about Wednesday's game against Poole, just sum up, Dave. We've had all the highs and lows of the season. Obviously, Gloucester were one of the fans that decided to win the league, and obviously that's not happened. But you are finished strongly in the playoffs. There's never really any doubt of you being in the playoffs. But how big is Wednesday? Because you now know you're not going to have Hereford in the Southern League next season, but it's still going to be a stronger division, isn't it?
Yeah, it will be a strong division. Bath and Chippenham down. So yeah, it's going to be a tough league, and I'd rather get out of it as soon as possible. But it's massive game on Wednesday, biggest game in Gloucester for a long time. I mean, all our big games in recent years, be it playoff semis or playoff finals, and even when we got promoted, and we've all been away. So now we've got a chance to do it at home, and hopefully we can make that difference count.
Yeah. What do you think City have got to do? Because obviously you've got that home advantage, but what do you feel that the City could do, the fans, the club, to make sure you take full advantage of being at home?
Win, really.
Yeah, but what can you do to make sure you win apart from playing well, I suppose?
Yeah, just turn up in numbers, give the boys support, and hopefully, we have key players playing well on the day. I think King could be a big player. Hanksy, Kane Simpson, Kieran Phillips. There's plenty of goals there, and an early goal would be nice.
From my perspective, the way that they can ensure they win is to put the ball in the back of the net more times than the opposition.
Yeah.
I don't know you hadn't made it a full-time professional pundit, Chris. It's just absolutely excellent.
Paul Town have got a man who's very, very good at doing just that, who we mentioned earlier on, Shaq Gwengi, and he scored 41 goals this season in the league. He scored 2 on Saturday, yesterday. Before
if he is out injured, that must be a big
injured
boost.
in the 42nd minute. So that'd be interesting. If he is out, take nothing for granted, but that would be a massive thing for us because he scores. Well, I don't know how many goals they've scored. Somebody quickly check. But if he scored 41, I'm not sure how many goals Paul have scored this season. But I would endeavour that he scored over more than half the goals.
They've scored 80.
They've scored 80 and he's got 41.
In the league only.
Yeah, he scored 41 in the league. So he scored over half their goals. So you take him out of the equation and it would be a big thing, I think.
Yeah. Well, what sort of crowd do they get down there, Dave?
The average about 750.
So yeah, I was just thinking because obviously, a big I suppose the answer I was looking for you was like having a big crowd, getting behind the team, but then you had that against Taunton and
it doesn't always work, does it? We've allocated them 400 tickets, which normally when you announce how many tickets you're going to allocate to the team, Twitter blows up with people saying that's not enough, but I haven't seen any Pool fans say that. We've allocated an initial 400. There is the option to give them some more if they sold us out, but they're showing no signs of having sold too many of them. And looking on stalking their Facebook page, it looks like they've arranged 2 coaches. So I don't think they're going to be bringing huge numbers. So yeah, need the City fans to really be loud and create an atmosphere.
I assume that there's going to be segregation.
It will be segregated. Yeah, they'll be in the Seven Meadow Road end, so they'll have their own little shed bar and a food outlet and their own toilets, and then so they'll be behind one goal, and then we've got the rest of the ground.
Because I was going to say, would it not be beneficial for City if they made both ends of the ground to City fans? Because obviously you've got the roof, which will help
you wouldn't be able to segregate that in that way. Because
you couldn't put them down where the commentary box is down the side there.
Well, only if they climbed over the fence and walk, because they'd have to come through the home end to get there by the turnstile.
It's all about making it uncomfortable for Dave. They've got to climb over the fence.
Yeah, they have to wade through the void, through the abyss, and then shimmy over an 8-foot fence. But,
but you have beaten Poole twice this season. So head to head, you've got that edge over him, but is it fair to say that all goes out the window on Wednesday?
Nothing, does it? It's a one-off game. It's all about who plays well on the day. We've got plenty of experience in there. We've got James Waite, and played well yesterday in the centre of midfield, who's played plenty of League 2 games. We've got Ledbetter's played plenty of league football. Kane Simpson's been around the block. Hanksy's played 300 games for us, so there's plenty of experience there. Just need to keep their nerve, don't they, and just do what they can do, play to the best of their ability.
Well, that's it. You go on about Shaq for them, but you're right. City have got their own threats. You got Kane Simpson, who's on 27 goals for the season. He's going to be the one, in my opinion, for City. Is he could be that difference maker in the playoff games, because he's a goal scorer, isn't he? He's a threat.
Yeah. I think if we're going to get to the final and win it, we need him to score 2 or 3 goals in the process. Let's hope he does.
And you mentioned you've got Kieran Thomas, you've got Joe Hanks, both got football league. Joe Hanks got football league experience, and Kieran Thomas, we've praised up all season, since he's been back, and we know what he can offer. He's a leader. He's going to demand high standards as a team.
Yeah, we've got that throughout the team. Lots of experience, lots of leaders, and they need to all put it together and on the day. But we will see. But we'll certainly be doing all we can from the terraces to get behind them.
Yeah, and obviously the big miss for City is going to be Ellis Watts, isn't it? It's a shame.
Him and Jamal are big losses. I think it changes the way we play when Ellis isn't there. We tend to go out wide and get to the byline more rather than keep coming back inside. When it works for him, he mazy run past 3 or 4 players and scores. It's fantastic, but sometimes it can lead the middle to become a bit congested rather than sort of traditional wingers sort of hugging the touchline like sort of Kane and Liam Cross and Riley Siddle do. So I'm not going to say it's certainly not saying it's a good thing, but I think it may work. If King has a good day, it may work in our favour, playing in that slightly different way.
Yeah. In terms of obviously the way if you get through Wednesday, the way the final goes, if anybody doesn't know, obviously Farnham finished second, so at the moment Farnham would get the semi-final at home and the final if they win the semi-final. If Farnham go out and City win the semi-final, they would be at home to Berkhamsted. So do you see Berkhamsted beating Farnham? I've just got a funny feeling, David, they might beat them.
I don't know. I think it's going to be a tight game. Farnham will probably win it 2-1 with a 97th minute goal, as they have done about 18 times this season. But it wouldn't surprise me if Berkhamsted got through, and playing Berkhamsted at home in the final would be they haven't got many. I don't think they'd bring very many, but they've beaten us twice, home and away. They're a decent side. But obviously we'd much prefer to be at home, so that would be the dream scenario. But it's out of our hands, and all we can do is just concentrate on beating Paul, and then deal with what's ahead of us.
Yeah. Well, if you have a message to the City fans, Dave, what would it be?
Just get behind the team. Simple as that. Just turn up in your numbers and make lots of noise.
Yeah, and that's all they can do, isn't it? It's going to be a big night for the club. Daft's done a brilliant job.
Yeah.
Like I said, nobody. We talk about size of clubs and all, but no one's got to give him right. You've got Farnham second. You got Wharton Hersham, who have won the league, and they're the 2 sides who have got money behind them. So it does show the sides who have money behind them, 9 times out of 10 will go to.
Wharton Hersham insist they've got a mid-table budget. Absolutely adamant. So who knows what the truth is? But I'm pretty confident that our budget isn't in the top 2. I'd imagine it's sort of in the promotion, in the playoff places if you put all the teams in order of budget. But it's hard to know, isn't it? But as you say, at the end of the day, it's not a God-given right, is it? It does help, but I don't imagine Berkhamsted's budget is particularly impressive or sizable, and they've crept into the playoffs. So it's how you spend it and what you do with it.
Well, no, they've Berkhamsted, they've just found that little bit of form, haven't they? And you just you always worry about that team who finds that little bit of form, who ends up turning up right.
That was us when we got promoted in 2009. We were mid-table Christmas, and we went on this wild run where we went 16, 18 games unbeaten and just pinched that 5th place. And we actually finished 4th, didn't we? Because we played Cambridge at home in the semi. But yeah, it definitely form is very important when it comes into it, and hopefully yesterday's result will roll on.
And just finally, Dave, for yourself as a Gloucester fan, obviously we know that you're a diehard fan. You don't even bother following Premier League football. You're engrossed in your own club, which is brilliant. It's very rare. What would it mean to you, and what would promotion for Gloucester City this season mean for the city?
It would be great to get back to where we were and stuff, but it's the highest level we've sort of played at, isn't it, really? So it'd be good to be back. And with Colin at the helm and Gaff, be nice to sort of build on that and then start to look to push to the upper reaches of the regional National League, and with our eye one day on hitting the National League proper. But it's a tough old division to get out of, this one. So hopefully we do it this time. But if we don't, then won't be for the one to try.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Dave. And I say it's a gritted teeth, but good luck Wednesday. I am coming along.
Yeah.
So it's like I've said to you before. The higher up the pyramid our local clubs are, as long as you don't overtake Cheltenham, the better. It's good for the pod. But I do feel sorry for City because of what you guys have had to go through for the last 20 years.
We don't want your pity.
No, I genuinely do. I do feel sorry for you because, like I said, I am diehard Cheltenham, and if there's not one weekend I sit there and want Forest Green or Gloucester to win, but I like to think as a decent human being that it's your club. You've almost had it taken away from you. And it's good to see people like yourself, Dave, who do go home and away week in, week out, put so much effort in behind the scenes that,
There's a lot of people who put a lot more effort in than me.
This goes to all of you. So for your sake, I genuinely wish you all the best. Next season, you can go back to losing, mate.
If we go up, we'll probably do just that more often, won't we?
I was literally just going to say, I really hope they do go up, because next season is going to be a good season for us, because you won't be winning that many games.
Yeah, that's my soft side, Dave. Just gone there. You use that. But I'll sure come find you on Wednesday, and
I'll be behind the goal.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Dave.
Pleasure.
So let's go on to scores on the doors. So obviously Sean's not here. So we're into the final stretch. The trophy has been ordered. So hopefully that should be here next week, guys, and it'll be where it's being shipped off to Cambridge, or it's being shipped off to yours or Sean's.
You won't be coming here, mate. Trust me.
So let's go on to scores on the doors. We'll start with Cheltenham and Tranmere. So I went 2-1 Cheltenham. So I got that horribly wrong. Sean went 2-0 Cheltenham. Chris went 2-1 Cheltenham. Dave, you went 1-1. So none of us got a point on that game. Bristol Rovers Cheltenham. I went for Bristol Rovers 2-0, so I get a point for that. Sean went 2-1 Rovers, so he also gets a point. Chris 2-1, so you also get a point. If you guys could just mark these points down, that'd be great. So that's 1 point each for everybody bar Dave at the moment. Morecambe, I went 5-1. That's because Chris gets in my head that Forest Green don't keep clean sheets. But I just had a feeling that they was going to stick 5 past Morecambe on the last day, never already down. So they won 5-0, so I get a point. 5-0, so I get a point for that. Sean went 3-1, so he gets a point. Chris went 4-1, he gets a point. Dave, you went 1-1. You get no points.
Yeah, you both made up 2 points. All made up 2 points.
And then on to yesterday, Gloucester against Walton Ayrsham. I went 2-1 City, so I get a point. Sean went 2-0 City, he gets a point. Chris went 2-1 Walton, so he doesn't get nothing. Dave, you went 1-1, so you get nothing. So
points made this week.
I've got 3, so that puts me on to 74. Chris got 2. So that puts him on to 72. Sean got 2. or is it 3? Sorry, hang on. So you've got, Sean's got 1, 2. Sean's got 3 as well. So I put Sean on to 75.
Getting tight.
So the table is going into this, could be the final week, depending on the playoff final, semi-finals. So Dave, you're on 76. Sean's on 75. I'm on 74. And Chris is on 72.
Oh,
So
anybody could win it, couldn't they? Bunching up.
So let's go on to the games for the final League 2 game of the season next week. Cheltenham are at home to Colchester. There's head-to-head, there's been 20. Cheltenham have won 7. Colchester have won 10. And there's been 3 draws. Last time out was a 2-0 loss in November. I do agree with what Cottrell says. I do think that Cheltenham are dead on their feet. So I'm going to go with a 1-0 win Colchester. Chris?
I've got to do a different score to you if I want 3 points, haven't I? I was going to go 1-0 Colchester as well. I'll go 2-1 Colchester.
2-1 Colchester. Dave?
2-1 Colchester.
2-1
Dave.
Colchester.
Sean is at a massive advantage, isn't he?
Sean's gone 3-1 Colchester.
Oh, he's already submitted him. Oh, that's all right.
I've been chasing him all morning. So, then we go on to the playoffs. Boreham Wood versus Forest Green. Head-to-head, there's been 5. There's been 4 wins for Forest Green, 1 win for Boreham Wood, draws none. Last time out was 1-1, and that was when the Ricardo Reese debate was the red card. Goals between the two clubs. There's been 6 for Forest Green, 2 for Boreham Wood. So I've gone a bit more in depth because it's the playoffs, Dave. The last 5, Rovers have won 3, drawn 1, lost 1. Boreham Wood have won 4, lost 1, drawn none. Chris, your prediction?
One all.
Chris, 1-1.
What's Sean done?
I'll tell you after.
Oh, that's not fair because I'm going to go 1-1 as well.
1-1. I'm going to go 2-1.
Go to Dave first next time. He keeps copying me.
I'm going to go 2-1 Forest Green.
I want to copy Sean.
I did say that Forest Green would win. And Sean has gone, surprise, surprise, 2-1 Forest Green. So on to Gloucester's game against Poole on Friday. Also, there's only been 5 head-to-heads. Gloucester City have won 4. Poole have won none. And there's been 1 draw. 13 goals in City's favour and only 5 for Poole. Last 5 for City is 1-3, lost 2. And for Poole, they've won 2, lost 2, drawn 1. Your predictions, Dave?
I'm going to go for us really clicking. And I'm going to go 3-0 City.
3-0. Chris?
2-1 City.
2-1. I was going to go 2-1 as well. And Sean has gone for 2-1 Gloucester. so
I was going to go 3-1 originally, but I've changed my mind.
The thing is, we need something to. Yeah, there's a few results the same there, so it's going to be tight. So, if for anybody who has taken interest in the prediction league as the season's gone on, this could be the last one. Depending on how Forest Green and Gloucester get on, if they do, we'll get a prediction in ready for the final. Even though Forest Green plays Sunday, so we'll do our predictions off air next Saturday on our WhatsApp group ready for the finals. Brilliant. That's I think that's a good place to leave it, guys. Dave, as always, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
Chris, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
We'll see you next week. Follow us on all our socials: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and X. On a weekend where the Robins run out of gas, Rovers want more as they hit 5, and City season is far from over. See you next time.